Yo, what's up? Maybe I should try to look into the camera a little more, but kind of just used to. It's helpful for me to just like look at myself. But anyway, so try to bring a little more energy this time on this video. But yeah, so I think one thing I mentioned in my last video that I want to talk about on this video was like starting my starting my side hustle really. Um, and I was thinking about like I was gonna write all these notes and stuff like that and like go through that, but I just that's not me. So like that would take too long and not be too much like planning and stuff like that. And I'm not really into planning and stuff like that. But I should be. But yeah. Anyway, but anyways, so and every business is going to be different. Like obviously, that's what sucks about when you start researching. Like you get an idea for a business and you start researching what kind of business you kind of want to be in, and you start like looking like you might look for videos and stuff like that. Like everybody's business is different, so um, they might be the supplier, the manufacturer, they might be the wholesaler, they might be the retail person, and yeah, so like it can be like kind of difficult um, to like figure that out and kind of like see like where you're gonna be and like how you're gonna feel like once you get started. But anyways, I guess I could just talk about making alcohol in that business and being the manufacturer of alcoholic beverage, and then just generally about starting a business. And I think this will be more generally about starting a business than like alcoholic beverage, but like someone could glean some information from there. And that's what I had to do. Like, I think that's part of it is like researching, coming up with the idea, start talking to people that are doing what you're doing, but also like people that um, maybe are just like related to what you're doing. So I manufacture alcohol, but I've talked to people that have just sold it, like that have been like the distributor and the end person um, and some people that have started off like with a lot of money, whereas like I like bootleg, I boot, I always say bootleg, but bootstrapped a lot of my business, which means like I use my own money and I didn't get like I didn't like start off with like a huge bunch of money, but I did like eventually like fundraise in order to like help myself out a little bit. But I didn't, it wasn't like, it wasn't like super, like, it wasn't a lot of money that I asked for. And that just reminded me that like I did that, like a part of this journey. Um, I think I think the reason like why I started a business is because I just wanted that experience. You know, it's like, having a kid or having a relationship or doing like going traveling. Like I just wanted the experience of like having a business. And I think the ultimate goal obviously was like to work for myself and yeah, and be like self-sufficient and all that. And like I'd read stuff on that and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Like um so like I went off on that journey. Like I I don't want to talk about like what years, but whatever. Like I I I basically like I make an alcoholic beverage. I don't know if I want to get into the details and like the brand and all that because I'm trying to keep things separate here. But so I started like I took classes on it, like how to make it, and I started working with some people, like I worked like a couple of wine harvests, and so even though like grape wine wasn't exactly what I was making, like it got me that experience of working with people that were like making alcohol and that were like, yeah, that were in that industry, even though like it wasn't exactly what I was making. Um, like, well, anyways, I make hard cider, so like fermented, like apple juice. So, but it would be helpful to work, and I think it's advantageous to work with like people like in different areas. Like, I work with people that um, were producing wine, and I think it would have been just as helpful for me to like talk to people and help make like beer or whiskey. So it doesn't really matter. Like you, I think it's good to talk to people that like aren't doing exactly what you're doing. Just because you like, I mean, because you could like pick up on techniques and just like mindsets that are different, like in terms of branding and marketing and uh, stuff like that, and just like sort of add to like fill in the gaps of like maybe like what your particular industry is doing. Like um, it's good to gather like all those different mindsets. My throat's getting hella dry. But I will proceed without drinking any water because I just had lunch and I don't drink water like after I had lunch. But I will make videos now after I've had when I'm able to drink water. Yeah. Anyway, so um, yeah, and then I like I said, like I'm not a big planner and stuff. So when I started, after I like learned once I like got experience like making alcohol, um, I just like I started making bigger and bigger batches until finally I was like, I'm ready. Like I think a lot of people they go. This might end up being like a long fucking video. I mean, a long video, but a lot of people, I think they they start they start asking themselves like, whether I think some people and like I think some people need this, but like they go through a process of like being like, um, you know, let me learn for a really long time. Let me basically like apprentice for a really long time, and then be like, okay, I'm ready. And I think that could work for a lot of people, and I think that's like a good thing. And like that's how a lot of um, things in this world are set up, and I don't think anything's wrong with that. But like I think like who I was and like where I was at that point in my life, I was just like, I'm ready to go, and that could like have some pros and cons too. So like I was just like, I'm ready to go. So I went out. Like I basically had to find out like, okay, where am I gonna get my raw materials? Like where am I gonna get my apple juice? And like also like where am I gonna make it? Because what I learned in retrospect is like, well, I can like it's alcohol, so I can't just make it anywhere. So there's like all kinds of like, I don't even know if I could explain to somebody really like word for word like how to go through what I went through, but like basically like I had to get licensed, and then I had, which was like a state thing, and then I had to deal with the federal like in terms of getting like a place where like I could like basically like co-opt a place where I could make it, and so I had to find that person, and luckily like the place where I can make it and the place that supplies like my raw materials, my apple juice, is like the same person, and that just all kind of happened like through very whimsically and like sort of serendipitously, and so like that's one part of my journey where I'm like, wow, I'm thankful for that. Like, cause there was like a few months there where I was like, I don't know, like if this is gonna work out. Like I can't just make this stuff like in my backyard and like try to sell it. Like that's illegal. So like I ended up finding a company or somebody that was already like had like the alcohol, like a facility where you can make alcohol. And yeah, so I just linked up with them. And so like from there I had to start buying like I had to start buying equipment and all this other stuff and figure out like the cost of that. And yeah, it was tough. It's still tough, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to like I had people taste it and like I and like let me know like if it was good or not, like the product that I was making was good. And they told me, some people liked it, uh, and I liked it, so I just like went with it. Like a lot of people, like they do surveys and they like tailor their product and um, they make products that people want. Whereas like I made a product that I wanted, that I didn't see out in the world, and I started making it. And I still feel those repercussions to this day because like a lot of people are like, I don't like this. Like it's weird. It's like a lot of the a lot of the people, the stores that I sell to, and the bars, like they love it. Like they think it's like so good, like it's awesome. Or like some of the restaurants too, like they really like it. But when it comes to the end user, like it's basically like 50-50. So I would say like 75% of like um, the retailers love it, but the like 50% of the customers like it. So um, yeah, that could be kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? So but that is what it is. And like eventually like I might need to make some kind of adjustment to my product. Like I just have one product right now. I think it would be helpful if I had more products. But um, I'm also just like a one person company, and that's like another thing. Like some people start their business with like a few people so they have help, whereas I'm starting it alone. And then like I think part of the plan is like maybe to bring on some people to like help me out. uh, so yeah, that's just how it is. Like I make it, I sell it, I package it, I pretty much do everything. Like um, and related to that, like something that I don't do for myself is my bookkeeping. So bookkeeping is important because like basically like it's someone that um, keeps all your like financials in order. And then um, and basically like has those reports ready for like when you do taxes or if you get audited by like who, like the government or something like that. Like they'll have my books ready. So like that's one part like I'm not skimping out on. That's one part like I'm not messing around with, that um, like that I'm trying to do myself. Um, so yeah, I have a bookkeeper, I have an accountant that I work with, um, and then there's other things like I hired designers, I hired like video people, for various things like in terms of like my marketing and my branding and like some of the fundraising I did. And then um, yeah, so like there's like there's just like a lot of different angles, and I don't know if like you could necessarily like prepare yourself. I think it's I think on one level, like if you've been through it before, like you could prepare yourself. But I think like on another level, like you can't prepare yourself, and it's almost like a good idea to just like, in my opinion, to just get started. Um, just like a lot of things, like otherwise, like you'll be trying to plan forever, and then you'll never do anything. And I think that's what that's what happens to a lot of people. Let's see. So I think that was a good maybe overview of like of what's going on, like or how it started. And you guys let me know if you have any questions about any of that. I can make like a follow up video about that. I'd love to answer any questions, help where I can. I do feel like I have a lot of experience just like starting a business in that way. Um, so yeah, let me know like if I could help in any way. Um, Definitely like there's just like a lot of there's like different kind of bookkeeping like methodologies that you could go with. There's like um, yeah, there's different ways to sort of like approach pretty much everything. Um, like ways to stay organized, la la. Anyway, I won't get too much into that, but I think one thing I wanted to touch on that's like kind of emotional for me is like um, I think like I'm into year two, and like the business is doing okay. Like I don't think I sell like as much. I don't I don't really cover like my costs. Like I essentially like invest like through my real work. Like I invest in my side. I invest in my side hustle, so I'm like my main investor. um, and so like yeah, like the sales, the revenue's not really covering like all my costs right now, and that could be hard depending on like your particular situation. And so like that's something like I think everybody has to be prepared for, like how that's gonna feel for you, and like whether like that's gonna like proceed, how long you're comfortable like going along with that. I think for me, like I see it as an investment. Like I think the hope is that over time, like um, eventually, like people will see the product and they'll start to, um, yeah, there's just like there'll be more awareness of the product, and like people will be more familiar with it, and they'll have more like loyal customers, and they'll start to buy it. Um, and another, I guess the other thing is like just like I think be prepared if you're like going to a similar like area, like of people dropping you or like not supporting you. Um, I think like I've had some restaurants and some bars um, and some like retail spots like take my product, but also like maybe be like, oh yes, like I have one store that was like, yeah, like it was selling, you know what I'm saying? And like I went in there to like see if they wanted to buy some more because like it had sold out, and they were like, oh yeah, like I don't think we want to carry it anymore because I've had some people say they don't like it. I'm like, okay, well, um, like I don't like I think somebody must somebody must like it because like it's selling, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, sure, like I guess like all those people could be new people, but I think there's also like people that are like reoccurring customers that are like buying the product, you know. So it was kind of disheartening. It's just like why do you care? Like there's so many different alcohols out there. Like I would never buy again. Like instance, some wines. Like I would never buy them more than once because like I am. There's not really one like thing that I like too much, but like why do you like? It was confusing in any case. So I was just like, so like you just had to be prepared for that. Like people, I mean, you hear it all the time. Like I think there's people that are like, oh, there's like haters out there, but there's also just like there's people that are not haters, but they're just like they just don't like support you or they don't give you the benefit of the doubt, um, or the you know in some way, and then like in other ways, there's just people that there's just going to be instances where like they you know like they can't keep your product around or because it's not selling where they're at, and like that could be very disheartening. So I think the point this video is getting very long. I think the point I'm trying to make is like just like be prepared. Um, just be prepared for the struggle. I mean, I guess that's what this whole video could have been about, and maybe I'll get better at like getting to the main point. Um, but just be prepared for the struggle. Be prepared for people to say no. Be prepared for people to say yes and then no. The same people. Um, I think be prepared for it to not work out and to ultimately like have to decide and then you know figure out why you're doing it. Um, I think I'm doing it to learn something about myself, so I'm just like I'll just keep going, you know, because sometimes it's harder to like quit than it is to start. Like as hard as it was to start, it's like harder for me to quit because I'm like I'm already I'm going and like it's actually like physically logistically hard to quit like because I would have to sell all my equipment. I would have to like hopefully sell all my product or dump all my product. Like it's not like there's like multiple barriers for getting out too. So um, I would say like don't you don't have to be prepared to fail, but just like just be prepared like mentally to be like not feel good about it all the time because there is gonna be like